We saw pessimism rise back above its historical average for the first time in 9 weeks. We've actually seen it trend upwards over the last really 3 weeks after hitting near the low end of what we normally would consider to be its typical range. So we saw it actually rise. It's important to realize our survey runs from Thursday through Wednesday, and we sent out a reminder on Monday. So a lot of people got a reminder to take the survey during Monday's volatility, but we have seen pessimism really rise from what was still typical, but typically low level.
So this survey ran from last Thursday through last night. So it got both of the big down days, Friday and Monday, and a couple of the other days as well in there. What is the specific question you are asking to get to these measures? What do you ask?
We ask members, over the next 6 months, I feel the direction of the markets will be up, bullish, flat, neutral, or down, bearish. And we've asked that same question since 1987.
And what has the correlation been between the answers you get and the market's performance?
What we see is really when optimism, when bullish sentiment reaches really high levels, we tend to see the markets underperform. And if we go back to January and late December, we saw optimism being at an unusually high level for really about 5 or 6 weeks. So when we see that being unusually high, the markets tend to underperform. When we see optimism being unusually low, we tend to see the markets actually do better. So a lot of people really focus on optimism, but our survey really suggests look at optimism. And when everybody's too greedy and too optimistic, that's usually a sign that maybe the markets are overvalued.
Sure.
Maybe the market's overdue for a pullback.
So if we could bring up the numbers that Charles provided us, guys, again in the control room. Tell me how this number sits in the scheme of things. Bullishness at 37% right now, yes, showing a decline, and bearishness at 35%. When the market is extremely euphoric, what is the bullish number at historically? Where have you seen it peak? And when the sentiment is extremely bearish, where have you seen it bottomed?
So for bullish sentiment, when we see it above about 49%, that's when we start saying it's too high, it's extraordinarily high. At the lower end, it's really below 27%. So there's about a 10-point range in each direction. So right now, all our readings are actually right about average. They're within their typical readings, so we're not seeing anything. But if you go back 3 weeks ago, we saw bullish sentiment at 54%.
54?
If you go to 54 at the start of the year, in January, way above the average. And on January 3rd, it's at 59%. So that was really high. That was actually within the top 50 of all our weekly readings.
And you point out that when it gets that high, you can then expect that the market might underperform, and that is exactly what has happened.
Yeah, and absolutely. It's not that sentiment's causal, but it's usually a sign there's something else going on. Maybe valuations are too high. Maybe investors are too optimistic overall with their investments. Maybe investors are taking on too much risk. So it's not a question of there's high sentiment, so the markets will fall. It's usually a case that sentiment's usually a symptom of something else going on. And we can certainly look at how the markets performed last year, where we had this big run and we had valuations being pushed up.
Hey there, thanks for checking out CNBC on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all of the day's biggest stories. You can also click on any of the videos around me to watch the latest from CNBC. Thanks for watching.